Now, we all like talking about making money, looking for the next 10x crypto. All that's fine and fantastic, but all of our financial preparations won't mean a thing if we can't ride out the storm. Now, we don't know what the storm or the black swan event's going to be, but as I always say, if you're just prepared with the basics, you will be able to survive out 90% of the scenarios. And for you, the black swan event might be an injury that takes you out of work. It might be a jobs loss. You know how bad this economy is. And so the financial preparations are going to be fine and fantastic for taking advantage of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. But we also need to take a look at how do we survive the systems going down. I mean, just look at this past week. We were, a quarter inch away from President Trump losing his life. That would have been one of the biggest black swans that we've seen in the past 20 years since 9/11. That would have absolutely decimated our markets. Take a look at what just happened in Yemen. Israel just bombed Yemen over the weekend, absolutely blowing out their main port, which does 75% of that country's imports. That's a black swan event for them. And obviously look at what happened on Friday with the largest global IT outage that we've ever had in the history. So folks, all of these scenarios are just a few of the many that can play out and impact you. And you're going to be wishing that you made some preparations. So I took advantage this past weekend in our Saturday Discord weekly call, and we focused on prepping. Now, here's what I talked about. First question, how long should I prepare for? A lot of folks don't get started because they want to be prepared for a year, and they think that they need to be a crazy guy in the bunker. That's not it. Remember, once again, prepping's not a stockpile, it's a lifestyle. So how long should we get prepared for? We start about just first target 2 weeks of preparations, and then we can work our way up from there. We talked about our bug out bag. We talked about tactical mode. How do we prepare and defend against the threats and protect what we value most? Then we talked about the basics: energy, food, water, all very important. One thing that many people overlook though is medications. We covered first aid, gotta have it, but then medications is something that a lot of people overlook. What about you, friends, family, loved ones that you're gonna have when the crap hits the fan? You better be able to make sure that you got your medications, first aid, got to be able to take care of it. Next, I talked about gardening. Now, this is one of the things that I love: gardening, grilling, and guns. 3 of my favorite things. And so we talked about that, couple tips there. And then finally, we settled down on barter and relationships. So understanding what do we bring to the table when we want to barter, transact, and trade when the systems go down, when the lights go out, when it's time for you and your community to survive the storm. What can you bring to the table, and what relationships do you need to build before what hits the fan so that we can ride it out? And then finally, I ended by talking about my 2024 prepping goals. So similar to how I talk about my business decisions and the investments that I make, I'm not here to give anybody personalized financial advice. I just share what I'm doing. And that's exactly what I did with my preparations here in this call this past weekend, is I shared, hey, here's what I've done, here's where I've had success, but here's where I have holes in my strategy, and that's all part of my 2024 prepping goals. I'm looking to plug those holes in my strategy before who knows what's going to occur. You guys can let me know in the comments down below what the most likely black swan event's going to be. But like I said, if you make this part of your lifestyle and you just cover the basics, you'll be able to ride out 90% of the black swans that we potentially face. And you see the craziness that's popping off. If you have been living under a rock and maybe you don't understand just how close we are and just how close we've been, you're still sleeping. You're still just focused on, I'm going to look for the next meme coin that's going to 10x. Those are the folks that aren't going to be able to ride it out. So now's the time to get prepared. We've been breaking it down. If you want to get tapped in, it's zachrector.com. You get access through Patreon. We would love to have you in the family, and we got more content coming on the way. So now's the time to get tapped in. I appreciate all of your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.